is experiencing the unparalleled joy, the pride, the delight, the pride in every time our students achieve something. When we see our students shining, our heart fills with joy. And all our students from the batch of 2020-21 have given us such an opportunity of being proud and feeling the exuberance, the joy of being a teacher. What makes it so special is not only the grades that they have scored, the spectacular results that they have brought to our school, but also the unique conditions in which, the circumstances in which they appeared for their exams, they prepared for their exams. The entire world was facing the chaos of the pandemic. The world is still facing the chaos of the pandemic. But at that point of time, everything was new. Nobody had a faintest of idea of what is going to be, whether we are going to have the exams or not. So there was uncertainty all around, and that was the condition in which our students prepared for their exams. They wrote their exams, they took their tests. So I take this opportunity to congratulate all the students, all our 5 toppers, and the entire batch. Congratulations, children. Thank you for making us proud. I would also congratulate all the students, the teachers, the parents who have contributed. And this would have not been possible without the contribution, the guidance of the parents. So thank you so much. Congratulations to everyone. I would now like to request respected Principal Ma'am to address the gathering.
Thank you, Shaila. You are absolutely right. These children have brightened the days, and not just a day, but the days to come, not only for the school, but all the students. The future is shining bright for our toppers and the upcoming juniors who are going to follow the path. I would also like to say that the brightness is not just because of their academic performance, but it is because of the brilliance of their character, for the wonderful human beings they have turned out to be, and the way they are going to shine up this entire globe. So it's a hearty welcome from me, a hearty congratulations from me to each of these children, our batch of 2021 and all the upcoming batches, all our children. It's great to see the way you are accepting all the challenges, the unique ability to adapt to changes, and the perseverance, the resilience you have developed. You have actually become the source of motivation for all of us. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for teaching us the lessons of life. May God bless you. And with this, Shela, you may take this further ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to call upon Ishan and Gaurav to take the program ahead. Ishan and Gaurav, over to you.
Thank you, Shaila ma'am. Namaste everyone. To begin with, we are Shubham Bhai, Business Studies and Economics topper Shubham Bhaiya. Shubham Bhaiya secured 5th rank in our school during March 2021 IGCSE exams. He has opted for 6 subjects in IGCSE and has bagged A-star in all 6. He will be interviewed by Aman Agarwal and Chetan Vaishnav. A huge round of applause for Shubham Bhaiya.
Namaste and good afternoon, Shubham Bhaiya. I hope you are doing great. Firstly, I would like to congratulate you for the outstanding results that you have achieved in the IGCSE exams.
Thank you.
So my first question to you is, how much hours did you devote to each subject and what was the strategy for exam preparations?
Okay, so to be honest, I'm not the guy who can study for 2 to 3 hours straight. So apart from school and if you go to any tuition or classes, the best thing you can do right now is solve one paper each day and devote one day to each subject. Or if you don't want to do papers right now, so you can just refer to your textbooks and study for 1 hour. Or for business studies and economics, I did that. Make your own notes, okay, and try not to give it to your friends, not because you don't want to share it, but because you want them to make their own. Because what you understand in your notes is not what they will understand. and if you give them your notes, it's very obvious that they would be like, okay, now I have the notes, then I'll study later, I'll do this later. So instead of that, just make your own notes. And uh, I don't know. The paper solving is the best, and solve the recent ones first, because the paper pattern is the same one. And if you want, like you want to do more paper solving, then you can solve the previous ones. And the strategy, I'd say I didn't have any specific strategy for preparing for exams. It was just that I used to do paper solving obviously, and when like there, I know like sometimes you don't feel like studying. Like you are like, oh, I did school. Like just now I did school. I did college. I did classes. So during that time, you can refer to YouTube. Like on that, there are many good videos about accounts and maths. I used to watch those videos. So you just need a calci in your hand, and you can just simultaneously solve it with the video, and just to make sure you're doing it the correct way and you're understanding whatever is going on in the video. So that really helps.
Thank you for the suggestion, Shubham Bhaiya.
Namaste Shubham Bhaiya. I hope you haven't forgotten me already.
No, no.
So my question is that for subject like economics, wherein students get generally perplexed or confused to write long answers, how did you manage to top it?
So the first thing I'll say about this is ask doubts whenever you have one, because I'm very sure the team won't mind solving your doubts as many times you ask them. So ask doubts first thing, and then whenever ma'am gives you some writing work, or for example solve these questions and come tomorrow and all, so do that, and when you come tomorrow, discuss it. So by discussion, what I mean is, don't think that I'll not solve it because kal to discuss hoga hi, so why should I solve it? Solve your, like, write whatever you can. If you don't get it at all, refer to MS and then understand and write the answer. And then the next day during discussions, you'll get multiple perspectives on the same thing. Like somebody may write what you didn't think about, so you have more points. So you should have something of your own first of all. Then we have long answers in economics. Like I know, like there's a booklet. So I know this is very common. Everybody says that, but don't go for the length of the answers. Go for the quality of it. So be like very exact and be to the point. Use keywords. That is very important for economics. And when I say write points, I don't literally write points, so that won't give you any marks. But use connectives. So yeah, so English also you have to make sure your English is strong for it. So when you frame your answers, they should be a bit presentable. So use connectives, even the simple ones such as in addition, similarly, in contrast, on the other hand, like that. So these would make your answer a bit answers a bit more, presentable, if I may say like that. And yeah, other thing you can do in economics is also not learn the diagrams, understand the diagrams, because I know it. Dipti man knows it very well. Like I was not good with the diagrams in the beginning. I used to get nervous just by looking at it. Oh no, this question expects a diagram. What should I do? So understand each of the diagrams and like practice by drawing it by your own, like anytime. Just draw the diagrams. That would really be good, because I guess it has 3 to 4 marks when you're writing an answer. So that is really, like, that's a lot. And yeah, learning the definition is important, but it is also important to understand the concept, because once you understand the concept, definitions won't be hard to remember. So you can just read it and you can just, with your own words, you know what to write.
Thank you Shubham Bhaiya for your suggestion.
So my next question to you is, what was your strategy to complete 12 marks answers for case study paper 2 of business studies?
So business studies, as we all know, it's a bit more theory than economics is. So for the 12 mark questions, first of all, you should know the advantages and disadvantages of the main concepts in our book, in our portion. So you should remember that, not exact word to word, but at least you should know. Like when somebody asks you for the advantages and disadvantages, you should at least know three by heart, like that. And so once you solve a specific number of papers, after that you just understand what the question is asking just by looking at it. So you can frame answers in your mind before even writing them. So it should be properly framed, the answers. And the 12 mark questions. So good. I'll say something about the video. It was that if only if you're running out of time for the 12 mark questions, what you can do is out of the 3 pointers which are asked for us to write. For example, how can we advertise? Like I have a business, I want to advertise something. So, which method of advertising is good? Is it newspaper? Is it television? Is it pamphlets? So, out of these three, if you're running out of time, just choose any two and write properly, like one disadvantage, one advantage, and relate it to the case study which is given. Even if you write for these two and write conclusion very properly, like there are chances that you may get 9 to 10 marks for it. So like it's something than nothing. The situation becomes like that when you are running out of time. So that is a good like that helped me, and I'm really thankful that I didn't have to use this in my paper, because there was like the time was ample, so I was able to do that. And another thing you can do for the 12 mark question is, yeah, but make sure the point which you're writing becomes like, don't take too much of space, because unlike economics you don't get a booklet for this. So write in short crisp answers, and again the same thing, use connectives so that you don't have the space is saved. And that's it, the 12 mark questions.
Thank you for the suggestion, Shubham Bhaiya. So here comes the next question. It is usually difficult to score in economics MCQ paper as the options are very close to each other. So it becomes difficult for students to get the correct answers. So how did you manage to crack the correct answers? I request you to share some tips for us all.
Okay. So in economics, as you might know, in MCQs, you get like the main two types of question. Either it is based on diagrams, so PPC or demand and supply diagram, or it is just simple definitions and theory. So for definitions and theory ones, it is like a lot of time it happens that either all of them are very similar to each other, the options, or two of them are very close.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, continue.
Two of them are very close to each other, and the other two are just they are just there. So that time you can just cut those two out, and then the remaining two ones you can actually think about it, and if it gets difficult, you can actually translate it in your mind, like whichever language you understand the best. So if it's in Hindi, so you can just translate the question in Hindi and try to understand what exactly asking and which option is the closest to correct. And for the diagram ones, I'd say in the question, like in the main exam, as you might know, we get the sheet in which you have to mark the answers. So the question paper, you can actually use it a bit for rough and all. So there was one question about this in our MCQ paper, the diagram. So I drew diagrams at this side of it to understand what each option can be. So like that you may get the correct answer if it's for demand and supply or PED. So you can calculate PED using the formula over there. So like that in the MCQ questions can be okay. Let's see. And sorry. The most helpful is solve MCQ papers, because there's nothing there are limited questions if you solve all of the papers. It's just that they are randomly, this comes this year, then after 3 years it comes, so you know what they are expect. You can expect what type of questions can come in the paper.
Wow, that was a wonderful strategy. I hope it will surely work for us.
I hope it works for you.
In these trying times, wherein we have to study online, what was the motivating factor that kept you going and maintained your focus throughout?
Okay, so last year when the lockdown happened in March, and then the school again started from April. So I'll be honest. In the beginning, there was nothing I can like we can do while just sitting at home, right? There's just 3 to 4 activities, and you get bored after doing that. Like how long can one watch TV or like play on phone? So it was like studying was something I could think about that. Oh, now there's nothing left, I'll just study. So like 45 minutes, 1 hour, that was more than enough, like in the beginning. And after that, I'd say my family and friends were really motivating factors, directly, indirectly, because my family, I'd start with that. They never forced me to study or never scolded me if I didn't get the expected good marks and all that. So that really made me confident in whatever I was doing and whatever the results were. I was confident with it, and I knew that whatever I'm doing right now is for myself because nobody's forcing me. Nobody's saying like not my mom is saying you have to get 90%, you have to do that and all. She was like, do your best, and that's what matters. So that was motivating. And my friends, they used to ask doubts on WhatsApp groups, be it math group or English group. So that used to make me think everybody is studying, so even I need to study. Like how is it like even I can do that if everybody is doing that in these difficult times. And the next thing was we used to have accounts. What do I say? The accounts people. Sometimes we did calls if we had doubts. So we used to solve it like that. So in accounts, it is required, as you might know, because studying accounts online first of all was very difficult in the beginning because accounts is such a subject you need to be in the class. Interaction with sir is really required, but eventually we did manage. And yeah, another motivating factor. Okay, so this was I won't say motivating as such, but this was the point where it really helped me. There was one point where I stopped playing video games because there were many issues and all that is kept aside. But after I started start I stopped playing video games. It was then when I realized how bad they were in terms of academics. Like they were affecting my academics really bad. And I'm not saying just study, but I'm saying that don't play such video games which are really addictive. And yeah, because I know games are actually good for passing time or something like that, but don't play the ones which are really addictive, and you spend hours and hours just thinking about it, that what should I do next over here and all. So don't play those games. I just say that. And study, be serious, because last year at a point I was like, oh, exam won't happen and all. Then at a point I lost the seriousness, but then again I got serious, and I pushed myself a bit. And it was good.
Thank you, Shubham Bhaiya.
Thank you, Shubham Bhaiya, for answering the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chetan Aman, for those intriguing questions. Coming up next, we have Maths and Accounts topper Rakshit Bhaiya, who has secured 5 A stars and 1 A in 6 subjects that he has opted for. He bagged the fourth rank in our school in IGCSE exams. He will be interviewed by Vivan Singh and Vinam Rathod.
Good afternoon, Rakshit Bhaiya. Good afternoon, Rakshit Bhaiya. Firstly, congratulations for scoring excellent marks in IGCSE. So my question to you is about how did you de-stress yourself? We would be very happy to know your daily routine timetable for the preparations of your exams.
I believe that after studying to de-stress yourself, you should always do activities make which will be fun and which will make your mind relax. So I personally, I used to play games, online games, or I listen to music. And I even talked with my friends. I went to classes there. We had lots of fun. So I believe after after studying, distressing is very important. You can watch TV or you can do exercise if you want to distress yourself. And uh, yeah, that's all.
Thank
Namaste
you,
Rakshit
Rakshit
Bhaiya.
Bhaiya. We'll surely try to implement it.
Namaste Rakshit Bhaiya. How are you? It is so good to see you after such a long time. All the memories of us being in the school, having fun, is flashing back to me at this moment. Now, let's get to the questions. Practice makes a man perfect. Was this only strategy to top maths and account subjects? We are quite eager to know it. It would be really helpful for us if you can share a few tips to remember the formulas.
So math and accounts are obviously practical subjects, and if we don't practice math and accounts regularly, we'll surely lose our hands from the subject. But because of these COVID situations, studying maths and accounts online was really tough because accounts as a subject, until and unless sir comes on the screen and draw those ledger accounts and statements, we will not get easily. So yes, it was really hard to study math and accounts, these practical subjects during lockdown. But I believe that practice is very important. And I took up a balanced approach to practice math and accounts. I solved more questions on the topics which I felt I was facing difficulties, and I solved less sums on the topics which I felt I was confident enough with those topics. So yeah, and talking about formula like learning formulas have never been an arduous task for me, and I don't think so it will be for you as well until we have Ashok sir in our school, because he teaches it very fluently and he makes the most hard topics also very simple. Even if the math classes were online, he started with presentations and all the graphs we were doing online, so it was easy for us to cope up in math compared to other subjects because sir made it very simple.
Very well said, Bhaiya. Thank you, Bhaiya, for your valuable suggestions.
So here goes the next question. How did your parents help you in preparing the exams?
So my parents played a very vital role in my accomplishment. My dad is into accounting, so during the initial days when I was learning basics of accounts. Whenever my dad came from office, I used to jump on him. I used to ask him what's debit, what's credit, how do we prepare journal, what's trial balance, statement of financial position. So yes, it was really fun with my dad as well. I used to irritate him always. And talking about Saurabh sir always gave us a theoretical perspective of accounts, whereas my dad gave all the practicalities which I needed. He even taught me some basics of Tally, which is a software for accounting. And talking about my mom, she has been very motivative. Even if I scored less or I didn't score up to her expectation, she always motivated me. She believed in me, and which gave me more confidence that I can do better and better every day.
Indeed, parents play a very important roles in our lives.
A goal is a dream with a deadline by Napoleon Hill. Rakshit Bhaiya, would you like to share with us what your future goals are?
So currently, I'm doing my A levels at BK Gadia A levels college, and I've shifted from science to commerce completely. I've opted for business, eco, and accounts. So now I'm planning to do CA or ACCA after my A levels, but I'm even thinking that BSc in finance and economics is also a good option, and these degrees will be in demand in near future. So I think I'll do these, one of them.
Wonderful, Bhaiya. Best of luck for your future goals. Thank you, Bhaiya, for interacting with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vinam and Vivan. Next, we have Manan Bhaiya, who opted for six subjects and has scored 5 A stars. He is also the topper in ICT. Manan Bhaiya was not able to attend this program today, but he has shared his message with all of us. I now request Amit sir to play the video.
Hello, my name is Manan, and my favorite subject is ICT. I like ICT because you can use it in many other subjects and places where there are, and even many of the jobs nowadays require ICT. Actually, nearly each and every jobs require proper use of computers and mobiles. So, my interest in them was like very I had more interest in them compared to other things such as maths and physics. As for the time I devoted in ICT, nearly 4 to 5 hours each week, and most of the time was devoted towards ICT practical. It is natural because ICT practical weighs more than ICT theory and marks, and even I think that ICT theory can be studied and properly given the exams. If you read the notes properly and if you are well versed in the subjects and the proper applications of the technology, I think it is possible to give ICT theory exam. But ICT practical exam requires much of problem solving, and there are many tasks which need to be done. So you need to be properly able to use those applications and softwares. So I gave more time towards ICT practicals. As for the ICT theory, 1 hour per week was given, and most of it was given in more I gave more time in reading notes which were already prepared on and were there on internet. And before my exams for ICT theory, I gave time for problem solving, paper solving for ICT theory. As for the skills, I think which are required for ICT, I think for ICT practicals, time management is required. Since if there are new tasks which are given, which are rarely asked, it may take time to take perform those tasks, and the whole order or schedule for other tasks might be disturbed. So I think time management is very crucial when giving ICT practical papers. For ICT theory papers, I think it would be analytical abilities. You need to be properly able to comprehend what the question is asking. If you aren't able to completely understand the question, then even the answer's accuracy is not up to the point, and you may lose marks. So I think you need to have properly understand the questions which have been asked. As for the advice, I think it is really it was even hard for us to cope up with the practicals during the COVID-19 of because we weren't able to properly practice. But I think that if you have practiced basics with the teacher, after enough paper solving and enough practice of ICT practicals, you can score good marks. You just need to go devote your time in ICT practicals and properly solve the papers and understand what kind of questions are asked every time. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. Next, we have our third topper, Amaya Didi, who has scored 7 A stars all the 7 subjects that she had opted for. Unfortunately, she could not make it today as she had some other commitments, but she managed to meet us before. I would now request Amit sir to play the recording. goes around that first language English is like extremely difficult subject, and it is next to impossible to score good marks in it. Like you seem to have busted that myth, so please give us some tips for the same.
When we first started FLE, like we were all really scared because all of us, we were told that FLE is really hard, you have to work hard and then everything. And then we first started with the lectures. Priyanka ma'am was like really supportive. No, you all will do it. You all are my girls. You all will be able to do it. And then we first started very simple, with all the simple stuff. We started with basic comprehension and then on, skills like figures of speech and punctuation. So I would say that you start with the simple stuff and then you build on it, so that if you directly start with something like writer's effect or starting with narratives, that won't work. You have to start with all the simple stuff and then keep on practicing. Like when we first started, we had a lot of time because the other subjects, I had taken 7 subjects, so it became really hard for me to manage all of them at once. So for FLE, just allot one day and solve like 2-3 papers. Yeah, 2-3 papers. Basically start annotating the passage. That really helped.
All right. The next question, like, what is your favorite, narrative or descriptive, and like why?
I think it really depends on the question they ask. Like in the exam, I was prepared to write a descriptive because I'm not that good at narratives. But then the question they asked, I thought that I would be able to write a narrative on this one. And I had learned 3 narratives that I wrote. And then I wrote the one that I thought was the most suitable, modified a bit, and I wrote that. So I don't think I have a favorite between the two.
All right. Yeah. Third question. Like nowadays, students are more fascinated with foreign languages such as German, Spanish, French in grade 10, and like choosing the subjects, the popularity is increasing. You selected Hindi and got an A star for the same. Like, would you be interested in knowing the areas that you find difficult? We would be interested in knowing the areas that you would find difficult, and how did you overcome the same?
In Hindi, the thing I found the most difficult was summary, because it was always the most unpredictable thing that they would ask in the paper. There used to be 100 words, and the passage itself used to be 1.5 pages long. And then in that, it's 2 hours, and then you don't get the time, to pick out the correct points and stuff. So when you're practicing, just do that. You take the passage, you take a pencil, and then start marking and try to shorten it as much as you can. Like use synonyms, use words. And if you read a lot, like newspapers or stuff, and just passages in general, then you would be able to find words to, replace the words used in the passage. So do that.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. Last question. How did you manage to like top both language subjects, which are like poles apart? Like what was your strategy, and how did you prepare for the vocabulary for both subjects?
Like I said before, like allot days to each subject. I had taken FLE for Friday because we had a lecture that day, and then I would be, in that mindset to do FLE. And then Saturday I had taken for Hindi. Both days you solve a paper or just annotate passages. And then we used to sit with a dictionary or a thesaurus, like just, skim through pages, try to find new words and stuff. And then if you look at old papers, like around 2016, for both Hindi and English, the passages are really good, like the vocabulary used there. And in general, all the questions asked, those papers were really good. So I practiced those a lot. And then as the end came, like the last 2-3 months and stuff, it became really hard to, focus on the languages because all the other theory subjects was so much to do. There was so much to do in that. So at that time, I just focused on the skills that I knew were weak from my side, like writer's effect in FLE, and then in Hindi, like I said, summary, and the last skill which is there. So I practiced those a lot. I don't think I've solved that many papers. I've just read passages and then found out new words and skills they've used there. So you can just do that, and that will be okay. But but keep practicing. That's the main thing.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Those were the questions. Thank you for answering them all.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Amaya. So, students, as you saw, she did not only give you tips about what she did in terms of improving her content, but the key to the success, as I gather from what Amaya has said, is being efficient.
Thank you, Ishan, for interviewing Amaya Didi. Now we have biology, French, and physics topper Tanisha Didi. She has secured second rank in March IGCSE exams. She has scored 6 A stars. For interviewing Tanisha Didi, I now invite Shreya Malgudkar and Naman Pandey.
Namaste Tanisha Didi. I congratulate you. Hi. I congratulate you for achieving such excellent grades in your exam.
Thank you.
Moving on to questions. This academic year was different from other academic year in many ways. What impact it had on you in terms of your preparation for the exam?
Thank you, Shreya. First things first, you have no idea how glad I am to be back here. It's like so therapeutic just listening to those voices again. And just, as soon as I came in and saw all my teachers, Principal Ma'am Smitham, just felt like I was back home. And it's weird because I am home. But coming back to the question, um, of course, the last year was really different. It was, to be very honest, it was really difficult. Um, I think at the beginning, it was mostly the uncertainty that was like a hindrance towards our preparation because we were becoming really lenient about it, right? Because we were like, okay, someday it's going to get over, and we were not going to school. So we were like just sitting at home, enjoying watching TV and just waiting for the time we'll go back to school and start the studying part. By the time June and July were there, we were actually questioning whether we were going to give the exam or not. So that was something that again came into the, came in middle of the preparation. But I think later on, especially for me personally, my mom was like, you are going to give your exams. And even if you're not going to give your exams, you are going to study for it. That is when I started studying. And I kind of wasted like half of the year just like being lenient. That was one thing that I regret even now, that I should have been more determined and more responsible towards my preparation. Of course, if we were in school at that time, we would have been more properly prepared. But I think let's not talk about what could have been, because right now also there's no certainty that even you all are going to go back to school for preparing. So I think it's better to just be prepared for the online conditions right now. And I think even in the online conditions, we kind of cope up with the preparation, but we wasted a lot of time being lenient about it, thinking if, just doubting if we were going to give our exams, which is something I would recommend no one to do.
That was amazing to hear. Second, French was offered as an IGCSE subject for the first time, and you scored 95%, and that's a huge inspiration for all of us. How did you manage to score so amazingly well in a foreign language?
I think it was all Rainy ma'am, honestly. I remember, I think what actually inspired us was at this one point, we were like not really serious about it. And we were obviously, we wanted to give the exam, we wanted to score well, but we were not putting in as many efforts as we should have. And on the other side, we were seeing Rainy ma'am put so many efforts for us, like making worksheets and trying to get us all in one place together to practice speaking and everything. And I think that is something that really like pushed us into it, that no, ma'am is putting so many efforts and then we are like just being so irresponsible. That is something that encouraged me to put in more efforts. And I think for any language, any XYZ language, you have to be really regular with it. You cannot just leave it in the middle. You cannot just practice it for 1 week straight and then take a break for 2 weeks, because you will forget it. So I think for any languages, the 4 key skills: reading, writing, listening, speaking, you have to keep on practicing that. And I think giving 10-20 minutes every day to French is so important. Every day to any language is so important. And my tip, the key tip is, you listen to what Rainy ma'am is saying, do what she's telling you to do, because that is going to get you through it.
We are all inspired by you.
Thank you.
Namaste. Namaste Tanisha Didi. Congratulations. To be
Namaste.
continued
Thank you.
to be continued with, this year was difficult not only for the students but also for the teachers, as they too had to be on their toes, adapting to a lot of new things. In what ways did you receive support from the school for preparations?
If I was to speak about the ways I received support from the school, I could like go on for the entire day, I think for the entire week, because there was so much support, so much guidance I was receiving, and I was not really grateful of it when I was getting it, but I think as soon as I even left the school, or even before that, when we were going to give exams, I just realized it was so difficult for the students, but it was like 10 times difficult for the teachers. And that was so, that just hurt me so much. I think I regret the biggest regret of last year would be that when my teachers asked, my teachers had to repeatedly ask that switch on your camera, speak, unmute yourself. And we were like so lazy and we were so stubborn not to do it. And I think that is something I just regret. And I would recommend you all that do not do that. If you all are not following their instructions, not switching on your camera, I would suggest you start doing that, because you just keep on expecting you'll meet them again someday. That is not something that you can rely on. And talking about academic support, I mean, we have the best teachers. There's no arguing in that. And I think they put in like 100 times more efforts in the online teaching, and it just got through. I remember Champa putting so many efforts. She was sending us papers and she was checking them, and she was always online on WhatsApp. And the day I came back, I gave my theory paper and I came back and I immediately spoke on phone with Champam, and she was so stressed. It was our exam and she was stressed the entire day. And that just shows how much they really want you to succeed. So I would say that the support you're getting from school, you may not realize it right now. The emotional support, the mental support, the academic support, it's really important. And I think y'all should be grateful for it, respect it, and more importantly, follow what they are saying, follow their instructions, because that is something I'm completely regretting right now.
True, parents and teachers played a very important role. The second question from my side is, you have topped in physics with a percentage of 96% and in biology with a percentage of 97%. What strategies did you receive support from the school for your preparations?
Um, so right now I'm a little clueless as to how I topped physics. Even I don't know. But I think more I received a lot of advices from my mother. My mom, she was really into my whole academic schedule. She used to make a timetable for me. And the most important part was all three sciences. I would suggest that there's no particular way of studying. There's your way, and then there's everybody's different way. So you follow your way. But what is more important is this advice that I've received from a lot of people, even from my own sister who's given the same examinations as me, that read the textbook. I read the textbook like 3 times. I read each textbook 3 times the last year. And that was so important for me, because you just start solving the papers at one point. You just start solving the papers and you're not getting half of the answers, but you just digging through papers. But that's not really what's going to help you. What is going to help you is learning the concepts, knowing your book properly, and then applying the concepts. And I have this great idea for y'all. I have finally learned how highlighters are used, what is the use, because most of my friends just color up their whole books. But you read the textbook once, then you read it again the next time, and like I have read the textbook. I can open up the page. If you ask me which page is this concept on, I can open up that page for you. I can tell you the paragraph. So I think when you're skimming through the book again, you will come across points that you think you don't remember, and that is what you're supposed to highlight. So you do that, and that'll be great help for all three sciences. Talking about biology, I really actually, what helped me was Dhanashri ma'am's method of paper solving. She really, used to teach us how to learn from the mark scheme, which was so important. I mean, I never figured that mark scheme was so important, and learning from the mark scheme could help me so much. But there's this 7 marks question which comes in like most of the papers, and there's in the mark scheme there's like 15 pointers. Every mark scheme there's the same 15 pointers. You put in 6 of them and you get the 6 marks. And that's so I had learned all of those 15 pointers, and the 6 mark question was so easy for me. And that is so important. Like, that is why I think for biology the most important thing is you keep solving papers, but also keep learning from the mark scheme. And also when the paper is very lengthy, because we had a really lengthy paper, and I mean, if not for the mock test we have before that, I would have like not been able to complete the paper on time. I would say don't solve papers online, like just skimming through it. You can do that, that is good for practice, but make sure you solve a paper like a proper paper in the conditions, like sit on the table, take the paper, and just take all of your stationery, put on a timer, and then start solving it, and just stop as soon as the 1 hour is over. And whatever time limit it is, whatever paper you're solving, as soon as the time is over, just stop solving it and start checking it and give yourself the marks. I think that is something that will really help, because we just tend to like do everything online, and then we are lost on the habit of writing, which is really important.
We will try implementing in our life. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shreya and Naman, for those interesting questions. Now we have our school topper, Kiana Didi, coming up next. Didi, your scores have been incredible and have been so inspiring. She has secured highest in French, chemistry, EVM and biology. She has secured 7 A stars. I would now invite Aryan Singh to interview Kiana Didi.
Namaste, Candy. First of all, it's an honor for me to be interviewing you, and I would like to congratulate you for the great IGCSE results you had. Following that, you were school topper in biology, French, chemistry, and EVM. So, how exactly did you manage to maintain focus throughout the year, and especially during the exams?
I mean, like maintaining focus, when you know you have to do it, you have to study a good amount of time basically. But don't study like the whole time, just sitting on the desk whole day, have some me time, have some leisure time, watch something, read something, spend some time with your family. And other than that, basically make studying enjoyable for you. So don't make it boring, use highlighters, use good books, keep it organized. That's what I'll say. Basically, like before your exam as well, make lists. Like even though I didn't study as much, like I didn't complete everything that was in my list, I made a list so that it didn't get me so overwhelmed or so disorganized and my mind so cluttered. Basically, like if you plan, you're supposed to do like the textbook 5 times a year, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to be able to do it like 3 times or something like that, but that's okay. And even before the exam, like a month before, if you plan, I have to read the entire textbook for all subjects, it may not happen sometimes. So just 1 day or 2 days before the exam, you have to come up with a plan how you can cover the most important topics. So basically just make a list, and like I'll do, like make a list that you can actually achieve still. Like before the exam, don't plan that you're going to do 5 past papers, or like make a practical list basically. And yeah, just make your own notes basically. I'll say be organized. Like some of the people who just don't shove your worksheets into your bag, keep different files. Yeah, that's what I'll say basically.
Well, sure, I will try that out and see if it works for me. Anyways, could you offer us some guidance for EVM and biology?
For EVM in biology, they're very EVM especially is a very subject that involves critical thinking and a lot of practicality. So basically, you just have to it's not a lot of theory. I'll say honestly, EVM. So basically, the past papers that Dhanashree ma'am will bring you will be like they'll be they won't be enough, I'll say, but they'll be like a good source. So just don't miss your classes or anything. Pay attention during your classes. And for EVM, stick to Z Notes. Z Notes is going to be like your best friend. And I've seen a lot of people, they just keep doing past papers all year, all the time. They're doing past paper, then erasing it again, then again doing past papers. Don't do that. Your textbook is like your main important source. So just read your textbook first properly, solve past paper when you're actually ready to do them, when you actually know what to write, and then do them. So basically, in bio as well, make your own notes. Bio is a lot of theory, so make notes that will make you remember stuff. And both of these subjects have like model answers. Basically, EVM especially has many questions that are similar, like that has a list of answers. For example, you take eutrophication, or you take, what are the causes of deforestation. So that has a list of terms that can be used. So just make a list of that. And then in bio as well, there are some questions that are going to be similar. So have some model answers that have been, that are at the back of your head, so you can use them whenever you want.
Well, sure, EVM does indeed require a lot of critical thinking. Regarding English, you have scored fabulous marks in English. You have got 92%. Which author inspired you or motivated you the most?
Like, if I will be honest, I did not read a lot of books. I tried though, but I just couldn't. So basically, at first, I did not write narratives. I stuck to descriptives, but then Priyanka ma'am encouraged me to write narratives and explore that side. And then slowly I started reading a little bit of books. I read the book We Were Liars by Lockhart, and that really struck me. And I mostly wrote realistic fiction. So I read the stories of my friend, because what happens is basically when you read books, the whole plot is like distributed throughout a like 800-page book, and you cannot like I couldn't relate that to a 500-word story. So basically, I read most of short stories. I read stories that my friends wrote. Yeah, and basically, tried to get my own situation, my own experiences into the stories, basically, and modify them.
Okay. What tips would you like to give us on preparing for chemistry, especially for remembering those rigorous chemical equations?
For equations, practice a lot of sums, and whenever you have a doubt, just message it in your group. Even though Champa, she's always available, but when she is not, just one day before the exam, you and your friends are just discussing the answers and solving each other's out. Like, the group will be flooded. One day before the exam, you're all sending questions, and just Champa sends a lot of worksheets. So just do those worksheets on time, and she'll normally send like good difficult questions, so that in the exam you'll find it easy. So don't be like, yeah, I'll solve my own past papers. Solve the ones that she gives, because that is like really good material. And have a list of formulas whenever you solve past papers, and then you like forget what to do, you don't remember the equation. Don't wait till you check the mark scheme, because then you'll forget it. And then don't wait till the next day. Just like you forgot this equation, just open your textbook, and on the front you have a list, and then check that equation and then solve the question.
Sure. You had opted for 7 subjects in IGCSE. Did it ever prove to be overwhelming for you, or the thought of dropping any subject came across your mind anytime?
That happened every day. Like, I was so terrified, because like there's only 2 of us in the class who took 7 subjects, and we saw all of our friends, just they had free lecture, they were all playing around in the library having fun, and then we had no free lecture, and that was like so annoying, and you're like, I just want to drop a subject, I'm done with this. But then it's like, basically, it's like, if you have the potential to do it, just do it. Don't be like, okay, fine, if 5 is the minimum, I'll only take 5. If 6 is the minimum, I'll only take 6. Don't do that. If you have the potential, if you love the subjects, do it. Because basically, like, science is, all the science subjects that I took, they were like really conventional, and then I took EVM and I took French, and those were like some non-conventional subjects. So I always, like, thought, which one should I drop. But then I just loved both of those subjects so much. And Rainy ma'am, Dhanashri ma'am, they were so encouraging, and I loved those classes. So I thought, why should I drop it? If you have the potential, just don't do it. And like, I actually found out that outside, even some of my cousins in GCSEs, they take like 9 subjects. So I think, I think 7 subjects is manageable. So yeah, if you love the subjects, you should go for it.
Okay. Thank you, Kiana Didi. That was quite a learning for us. Once again, I would like you to congratulate for your excellent IGCSE results and wish you best of luck for your future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aryan. Thank you, Kiana Didi, once again. Now the forum is open for all. All students may interact with our school toppers and seek guidance and suggestions.
Can I ask some questions?
Yes, Vivan, please go ahead.
I would like to ask this question in general to all the toppers, that when you were going to attempt the papers, at that time it usually happens that the feelings, the aspects of fear, anxiety, panic clutches on your mind. So how did you all overcome the emotion of fear and remain focused and calm at that particular moment of time?
So this is for all of you, Kiana, Shubham, whoever wishes to answer, you may unmute and speak.
Okay, may I speak?
Yes, Shubham, please go ahead.
Yeah, so Vivan, I'll be really honest. So even I felt, obviously everybody feels like that. You feel scared and nervous, but you cannot do anything about it. Like you have to write paper anyways. So just try to calm yourself. Think about something. What I should do, I should think after I give my papers, I would have that 1 month of free time. So I should think about that. I'll do this, I'll do that. So that used to somewhat calm me down, and yeah, like it would be there, like it is natural, so like you don't have to worry about it, just study right now.
Very well said, Shubham Bhaiya. My next question, my last question. The question is also for all the toppers in general. How would you all describe your journey with RRIS, our school, till now?
Yes, anyone can take up. Tanisha, Kiana, Rakshit.
Ma'am, I honestly don't think there are enough words for that. But it's been really like thrilling. I mean, it's it's been a decade, so I think there's not really much to describe. I've grown up in this school. I've grown up around all my teachers, and I've grown up with all my friends. And I just, right now also, I think it's just how much I'm missing the school. All of us. I think if I start speaking about that, I'll start crying too and like sobbing like a child now. But it's been a decade. It's the end of an era, and it's not the end. I am not ready to let it end here. So I think the whole relationship, the whole journey has been it's just so close to my heart. There have been times it's been really rocky, it's been really stressful. There have been times that I really didn't want to go back home from school and just stay there all day, all night. I think it's just, I don't think I can actually describe it, put it into the right words, because I'm afraid I won't do justice to it. But I I think it was just great, and I'm just not ready for it to end yet.
Fantabulous answer. Quite nostalgic though.
Thank you, Vivan, for your question. We have a question in the chat box. Is it necessary to join coaching classes? How many of you feel that you should join coaching classes, or coaching classes are compulsory?
I don't think coaching classes are necessary at all. Like, I did not go to any classes. You know, as school teachers, they were so great. They were always, that was always enough for us. They explained us so well, cleared our concepts so well. So we just needed to do a little bit more self-study. And yeah, that was it.
Yes. Any other student would like to ask anything, or from parents as well? Any teacher? Any teacher would like to express anything?
Namaste, Smita ma'am.
Namaste.
Smita ma'am, my daughter wants to ask something. She was hearing all our alumni. So she wants to ask something.
Namaste, Didi. Didi, what to do? Because when I during my exams, though I know everything, I get scared. So I don't know what to do.
Oh, that's so sweet. That happens all the time, dear. It's like something that's bound to happen. I would say before your exam, don't discuss with your friends what you've studied. Don't start talking about, oh, have you learned this? Have you learned that? And it just builds up on the stress. I think what is more important is you talk to your friends about how your day's been going. You just talk random things. Like, I remember before my FLE exam, I was so scared, but I was just talking to my best friend Anya, and she just boosted me so much. And she just, your friends tend to support you a lot. They motivate you, and that is really helpful. You just before exam, don't start stressing about what you've learned. You be confident, sit in your exam. You will be scared. It happens. It will grow on you as you give more exams. You start, you know getting into that zone of how to give exams, when you sit for exam, what to feel. And I don't know what to say to this, because even I was scared, I was stressed, and I didn't know what to do, and I was so anxious. But I think you need to know what is more important, and what is more important is to write the answers, and not let what you've learned go in vain. So just be confident and keep on telling yourself that you can do it, and don't compare your study pattern on what you've studied with anybody else. That'll be really helpful.
Okay, Didi. Thank you.
Tanisha, great answer. But I would also like to add here, Devanjot, that don't take exams as exams. Okay, if you don't take exams as exams, you won't be stressed out. Just think that you are trying to, we are trying to check how much you have understood, how much you can put on paper, how you can apply, how much you can apply. And we are just checking that. We are just assessing that, so that in case if we have missed out anything, we can rework on those things. So don't take that stress that I'm going to sit for paper and my teachers are going to judge me, and I will be graded. Then just don't go with those thoughts when you sit for your exams.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
I would like to say something. So congratulations to the entire batch for this wonderful results. I mean, to be very frank, I was not at all surprised, because this was expected. We have been waiting since years that when this batch will sit for IGCSE exams, and when we will get to see this dhamaka of performance. If this results wouldn't have come, then definitely we would have been surprised. So this was expected. You were, I mean, like the way you people have been, behaving or carrying yourself in the school since years we have been observing you. You were always the favorites because not because of your academic performance. That is something, yes, important, but that was not always the criteria. The way you people participated in everything, were active in everything, the way you people carried yourself, the way you people interacted with teachers, the way you followed what teachers said, what your mentors said, and everything. It was so amazing. So we were looking forward to these great results, and we were waiting for your batch to come into IGCSE and set a bar which raise the bar so that future batches, future students coming in get encouraged, get motivated that yes, this is also possible. So great performance, students. And the way you people have conducted this interview, they 10 students, Ishan and Vivan and everybody, it was so amazing. We are so proud the way you have conducted the interview and way these toppers have answered. Such practical tips you have given, wonderful tips you have given, excellent. I'm sure every child must have benefited, must be benefited. And if you have not paid attention, students, I would suggest refer to the recordings. These students, these 5 toppers, 6 people, they have really answered so well, and very practical tips they have given which you all need to follow. So all the best, all of you. Excellent performance, excellent results. May God bless you, and may all your dreams and wishes come true. You get all the success you deserve. We are all very, very proud of you, extremely proud of you. One question I would like to ask Tanisha, or even if others want to answer. Yes, Tanisha, you remember I had once called and you had spoken to me that you people are actually frustrated with this lockdown thing, and that is kind of affecting your studies, your mindset. If you remember, we had this discussion, correct? I want to know from you, how did you overcome that? Because you said that the entire class was going through it, and you people are actually going through that trauma, and it was new. So everybody was going through it. But because we had discussion, I want to understand from you, how did you overcome that trauma? How did you accept that this is going to be the life now? This is the way the life is going to be, and I need to now focus on the task at hand and give my best. How did you do that?
Yes, ma'am, I do remember talking to you because it was our last year. We were very excited. We'll go back to school and we'll talk to our teachers and like just have fun and enjoy and study. And I think the pandemic hit, and then we were like really I think we were just so frustrated about everything going on around us. Even the continuous online classes are frustrating us. That why do we have to sit behind a screen and attend classes, and why us? And that was really taking just inside us. And I think I personally also have had a lot of, and I was never really an introvert or an anxious person, but I just started having so much anxiety and so much stress and so many panic attacks, and it was just so hard to handle. But I think even I wouldn't say we kind of like grew over it, or we handled it, or we just did anything about it. I think we're still going through the same thing. We're still trying to adjust. We're not completely, we've not completely accepted the new lifestyle and not completely adjusted. Even today, we cry. When will we meet our friends? What about our future? Everything. But I think the best part about it was that I think what I did was I just started meditating. I just started being grateful for what I had. So I had my family. They were safe. My health was good. I was doing good, like as an individual. I had food, shelter, everything I needed. And I had my friends. They were such a big support. I mean, I couldn't have gotten through this without, especially without my best friend Anya. Anya was like such a big, and if you've ever spoken to Anya, she's just such a, she's a ball of sunshine for everybody. So it's like just regularly talking to Anya, Kiana, the whole class actually. We always used to like be online and just support each other, and that was just so helpful. Like even at home we felt connected to our class because we used to see all of those people every day, and then suddenly we just couldn't meet at all. So I think just being in connect, that kind of helped us a lot. And just I think I just started being grateful for what I had. So I it really helped in, my own mental situation. And I was happy about what I had, and that helped me a little. Even now I cry about, what's happening and why it shouldn't happen and why it's unfair, but I just accepted it. And I think acceptance is like really important for this situation.
Great, Tanisha. Hats off to you for putting this point forward. It is such an important thing to be grateful for what we have rather than crying for what we don't have. So that's really amazing, Tanisha. Thank you so much for this wonderful answer, for this wonderful learning, which everybody of us should have. I'm really hats off to all the children across the world who are, sailing through this difficult time, still doing it so well, managing so well. Thank you, Tanisha. Love you all. Well done.
Thank you.
May I now take the opportunity to request our Honorable Principal Ma'am to share her views with our seniors.
Namaste, Gaurav. Thank you. Namaste to our brilliant stars, all our children, all my colleagues, and some of the parents who have joined us. I'm still absorbing all the wisdom that has come from these wonderful children. I feel so proud, so emotional at the moment. This one decade has seen them transform. It has been like a butterfly's journey. We have seen them struggling, we have seen them growing, we have seen them aspiring, we have seen them dedicating themselves, just like it happens with everybody. These children have had beautiful time in the school, at homes. I'm very sure of it, but it's a huge but here, that usually for a school child, the most precious years are the last years, or the very last year is like the cherry on the cake of the whole schooling experience. And I feel so sad and sorry that these children could not experience it in the school. But I want you to accept this fact. Whatever happens, happens always for the best. And maybe what you gained in exchange for all that you have missed out by not being able to come to school is probably bigger and huger, and has and will be playing a bigger role in making you achieve what is the real purpose of your life. I know the explanation might not seem very acceptable at the moment, but this is what I think would be God's plan. Nobody understands destiny, nobody understands the bigger plans He has. What I'm trying to also convey, that it's the pain that you must have felt. We can relate to it. We all have been school children, and we know how precious those years are, the last year is. And despite of all that, you continued with your studies and rocked the exams like real rock stars. Hats off to you. The profound thoughts that you all have shared, apart from the advice for scoring well in the exams, has simply blown me off. Like talking about mindfulness, talking about how to relax yourself before exams, talking about gratitude, talking about feeling sad for the entire humanity. I think these are the real foundations that we need in children to build a better world, and that gives me much more immense joy than just seeing that you are scholars in your own areas of subject expertise. Children, you all are gems, and we know a gem cannot be polished without friction. Similarly, nor a human without trials. Now it gives us more confidence because we have now seen it. We are not just talking about future, that in the future you will face challenges, face them bravely, and that's when you will emerge out victorious. We have seen you doing it. So that fills me with pride. I'm sure it fills all the entire RRIS family with pride. Your character has been revealed during the trial and the suffering. Your ambitions, you have achieved your ambitions, you have achieved the success, and you have truly proved that character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. So stick to this. Some of you have spoken about time management, then having realistic goals, and you have not just spoken, we can see you have lived it. And that is how we are retaining those words. People may just speak profound things, may even the Google provides you everything. You can give big speeches, but believe me, something that comes from experience comes from your heart. And that is only when it touches the hearts of people, and that is only when the people remember it and try to follow it. So that has been wonderful listening to you. I bless you all, give my love to each one of you, and wish that you transform this world into a better place just by being in it and with all the goodness that you carry in your heart. So act to impact. God bless you. I love you all, and I look forward to having you back in the school as often as we can. And let's make the best of what you have missed out, best of the time when we meet to compensate for what you have missed out. I once again congratulate each and every teacher who has taught them in IGCSE, who has taught them in secondary, primary, who has also been there for their co-curriculars, for their sports, because what they are today is not just because of one subject that is taught in ninth and 10th. It is because of who they have become, because of everybody's influence on them. Children, if you agree with this, that every individual in the school, every individual in your family, every individual in your social sphere has impacted and made you who you are and is responsible for your success today, then indicate in the chat box, or you can unmute also and speak. So thanks and pranams to all these gurus who have made these children such intellectuals, such wise people that we can learn a lot from them. So thank you and love to all of you. God bless you. Give my regards to your parents for being with us in this journey and making you what you have become. God bless you. And all the best to the juniors. A wonderful job by the interviewers. I'm so proud of you. And thank you, Shaila, for anchoring this whole process. Thanks to our Vice Principal, Dr. Smita, for ensuring that this event is planned and it goes smoothly. My love to each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words and encouraging words. I now call upon Ayushi and Krish to propose the vote of thanks.
Namaste everyone. I take immense pleasure the opportunity to present vote of thanks on behalf of my school.
Krish, you seem to be having a network issue. We can't hear you properly.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry for the.
Krish, you can do one thing. You can keep your camera off so that the bandwidth is not affected and you can deliver it properly. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Namaste to everyone. I take immense pleasure for getting this opportunity to present the vote of thanks on behalf of my entire school. Firstly, I would like to thank our respected principal ma'am, Dr. Daya Parikh, and Vice Principal ma'am, Dr. Smita Gandhi, for organizing such a motivating session. I would like to thank our seniors for sharing their experiences with us. It was great hearing from you.
We congratulate you again for achieving such wonderful results and motivating us in so many ways. We will definitely bring all these suggestions into practice. I take this opportunity to thank Dipti ma'am and Shaila ma'am for guiding and helping us in so many ways. I would also like to thank all the teachers, the entire IT team, and all the students. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Ayushi. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations to all the children. Congratulations to the entire RRIS family. Every person who has contributed in the success of our students directly or indirectly. Congratulations to all of you. Gratitude to all of you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Shaila ma'am and Dipti ma'am, for preparing students so well and planning for this program so well. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Kiana. Bye, everyone. Bye, Shubham.
Bye, man.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
ma'am.
Rakshit.
Bye, bye.
Bye.
Well done, Deepti and Shella. Well done, all the new 10th grade students. And all the best for your preparation.
Namaste, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I had asked Priyanka Jain to join. Is she still here?
Namaste, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
God bless you,
Ma'am, she
Vivan.
left, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am
Okay.
is not. Okay.
Thank you.